In the spotlight in this video is the Class 158 from Bachmann. Before I look at the model, I'll give you a very brief history on the Class 158. 204 of these were built between 1989 and 1992 at BREL in Derby. Scotland was the first region to receive these class, and they displaced the much loved Class 47-7 push-pull services between Edinburgh Waverley and Glasgow Queen Street. They've got a maximum speed of 90 miles an hour and offer high performance, comfort and low running costs. And they're made up of a pair of driving motor standard class with lavatory vehicles. Okay, let's work our way around the long awaited, long overdue Bachmann Class 158. This retool is new from the ground up. It has a low profile motor which isn't visible looking through the compartment windows. It has excellent low speed running characteristics and is almost silent in its operation. Looking at the end of the loco, it accurately captures the look of the Class 158, from that kind of sleek, slender, tapered body and the prominent valance around the coupler, which really is symbolic of the Class 158s. The detail here that Bachmann have managed to incorporate is superb. The coupler here can actually be coupled to the other gangway driving end, so you can actually double up the, from a 2-car to a 4-car and so on and so forth. That's excellent, and I believe that's almost a first in double O gauge. The paintwork, edges and detailing are crisp throughout. No hazing between any of the colour schemes at all. There is a nice touch as well with the gangway doors, is picked out in a 2-tone colour just like the real thing. And you've got the designation boards there. This one is Liverpool Lime Street, and obviously that's not going to be totally accurate for my area or my layout, but it's the only one available just now, and I'm sure I can overlook that small issue. The flash warnings are picked out on the glazing, and very fine windscreen wipers are attached. Now these actually have, this is a sound fitted loco, and these actually have their own function when the loco sound is on, so I'll show you that later. Looking at the front area around about the cab and going aft towards the rear of the coach, we have got a superbly recreated example of the 158 there. The body shell has all the fine detail. Some of it, like the vents, are part of the moulding. The door locking lights here are separately fitted and they operate. Again, you'll see that when it's on the layout. The bogie detail, I had a look at the pictures from the real thing. The bogie detail is stunning. The suspension and all the the lifting points, they're totally accurate. I've yet to find an issue comparing it to photos. I'm sure other people will, but I've looked at photographs and I'm pretty impressed, to be honest. Looking closer in on the front end here, we've got the detail around the door opening, buttons and lights. It's second to none. I mean, this is utterly impressive. Every little detail is there. I wish I had a magnifying glass actually, so I could put up to the camera and show you how fine that added detail is. There was a bit of hoo-ha surrounding this seam in the body on the early production samples. I have to say, on this livery, it isn't really prominent. You can't pick it out. Yes, there is an actual join in the real thing. Some people were saying it was too prominent. I have to say, looking at this, it's not really an issue. Maybe it's the livery that hides the fact that it's the crease is a bit prominent, but to be honest with you, it's you don't notice it. Underframe detail is excellent, with all the correct boxes and pipes and detail there. I'm not going to go into any of the actual parts because most of you will probably fall asleep if I start talking about all that stuff. The interiors are spot on. They've got the kind of bluey kind of seat cover, again prototypical to the class when they were released. There's tables there. It really is, because there's no motor impinging on the passenger compartment, you get a full view right the way through the coach. There's no areas of unrealistic, motor boxes. As you'd expect, detail at the ends of the coach is just as impressive as the rest. Just quickly looking at the roof there, they've actually got the grab handles for the roof hatch, the perforated aluminium tube there for the exhaust. Stunning detail. They've even gone to the effort of this silver part here, obviously it's cut off at the top for the exhaust. They've painted that opening black, so it's just not all silver, and that's just one of the nice touches that lets you know that Bachmann have really done their homework on this, and they've really put a lot of effort into getting this model bang on. You'll notice a quite unusual coupling system here. This is new from Bachmann, and it's basically sockets, and they clip into the other car, and this little clip here helps hold them together whilst they're in, and you get a neat little tool with the 158 to assist you in uncoupling. It's not as easy as the tension lock coupler, but it's certainly an improvement on the bar that they've used in their 101s. This allows obviously the signals to be passed between the cars for control of the lighting and sound effects as well. On the roof here you've got the vents, and these are, I think, separately fitted parts, and even in the little recess you've got the rivet detail. You might get a better view of the roof there with the detail that I've just spoken about. As I say, there's lots of separately fitted parts along the underframe, and the bogies have the coloured parts picked out as it would be X-Works. These would get pretty dirty pretty quickly. All printing on the logo is crisp. You can read it even down to the small data panels there, and the disabled sign on the door. They really have gone the extra mile here to make sure this model is worthy of its long delay. I mean, I criticised Bachmann for announcing this back in 2014ish, and now here we are 4 or 5 years later and it's just arrived. But sometimes you've got to wait for the best stuff, and this, in my opinion, is the best DMU that I have seen in 00 gauge. The astute amongst you will have noticed this is a Regional Railways branded one. Technically, if I had it on my layout, it would be a ScotRail branded one, but I'm prepared to overlook that because this is the only one that Bachmann have released so far. When the livery first came out, actually, it had a large Express legend along the side of the coach. But obviously, this has not been recreated in this particular release. Bachmann are very supportive of the ScotRail region, as are Hornby, to be fair. They're all kind of getting on board with the ScotRail area. So when Bachmann finally do release a ScotRail branded one, you can guarantee that I'll be very interested in getting that to add to the fleet. The final thing I'm going to do is my usual thing with these spotlight reviews, and I'm going to ask, would I avoid it, consider it, or just go ahead and buy it? Well, if you've listened to what I've been saying in this review, it'll be no surprise to you that I'm going to say just go ahead and buy it. This is an absolute peach of a model. You get them sound fitted, which are around £305, which isn't cheap, and you get them non-sound fitted for just over £200. So I would just go ahead and buy it. If this is the era that you model, obviously other liveries are available. It's a no-brainer. This model is an absolute beauty. The instructions given are fairly comprehensive, with coupling and uncoupling fully explained, along with chassis light feature switches. However, the biggest improvement for me is the DCC decoder and sound fitting decoder area here, where you just have to remove a part of the underframe to access the Plus X22 decoder. When I get the loco fired up on the layout, I'll go through some of these functions, which are fairly comprehensive. It goes from function 0 through to function 28, and this obviously will run for the class 158 and forthcoming class 159 from Bachmann. I'll go through some of these functions on the layout. just before I fire the loco up, just to let you know there's only one decoder required for this, and obviously then one speaker, and that's housed in this car here, and it says in the instructions you can tell which car it is by the designation, and it's the one that starts 5-7, okay? Function 0 is the lights, function 1 is startup or engine, and both cars start up slightly different times, which is just like the real thing. Function 2 is a non-latching brake for slowing it down. Function 3 is the single horn, and function 4 is the two-tone. Now it's quite a good touch here actually that when the loco's moving, the horn is longer, give the driver a longer burst on the horn if it's travelling, as opposed to when it's stationary, when it just gives a quick toot. You have function 5 is light engine, you've got 6 which is engine idle, you've got flange squeal at number 7, you've got door closings which is number 8, or opening and closing. Okay. And you've got 9 is the passenger compartment lights, which are now on. They're quite nicely lit actually behind that tinted glazing, they do work very well. 10 we've got the guard's whistle, and then we've got the buzzer, the guard's buzzer. We've then got the driver's buzzer. Okay, and then 13 we've got, if you want to power it up. Alright, give it a bit of rev. Function 14 is the directional lights. You can have a day or a night mode, which is quite a nice touch. And 15 are the cab lights. This is quite an interesting one actually. It's directional. When the train is driving forward, that cab is not lit. The rear cab is lit, maybe where the guard might be sitting, for example. So that's quite unusual. 16 is the air conditioning fan, which is fair enough. 17 is the windscreen wipers, something quite nifty. Might be able to hear that. Okay, and we've got things like fade sounds, directional lights off, directional lights on, station ambience you can have for 22. The hustle and bustle of a station, trains going off in the background and stuff. I don't think the speaker in this does these any favours, to be honest with you. It could do with a speaker upgrade, if I'm perfectly honest. We've got things like detonators, AWS, and we've got volume up and volume down. The volume could do with a bit of a boost. I've got it up at full volume just now, whilst it's picking up well on the camera. It actually probably is pretty prototypical. I know a lot of sound locals, you put it on, there's a din, you know, the place is taken over by the sound. This is actually quite cleverly done, that it's not too loud and in your face. It's just the right level, but some people might want it a bit higher. Okay, I'll remove the brakes and we'll rev this up out of the station. Well, I hope you enjoyed that review of the Class 158 from Bachmann. It certainly has been worth the wait. It'd be nice if Bachmann can now release a dummy set so that we could couple it up to the motorised set, so we could run a 4-coach train without having to go to the expense of buying another powered set, if you like. So maybe that's a suggestion that I'll make to Bachmann. But in the meantime, thanks for tuning in, and there'll be more in the Spotlight videos coming very soon. Cheers just now.